Hey folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. This is Chris on Woodbridge Island in Cape Town with the skyline behind me back there, just across the bay. And nearly a month after South Africa's historic seismic elections, we're still waiting for the cabinet to be announced. Democratic Alliance leader John Steenhuisen and ANC leader Cyril Ramaphosa were scheduled to meet today to work on a cabinet, but there'd been no announcement as the time I went to air with this. So, in this past month, I've been in the Western Cape, the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Gauteng provinces. I met black South Africans, I met white South Africans. I haven't had a chance to meet many colored South Africans, but I have met a few Indian South Africans as well. And I can tell you that it's about 80% or more South Africans are not satisfied with the coalition being disguised as a government and national unity. So what does that mean going forward? Well, the good news is that things are calm, things are peaceful, in no small measure, because in KwaZulu-Natal, the Zulu king declared the elections were free and fair, which tamped down a lot of the tensions going on in KwaZulu-Natal. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods, but it does mean that MK has been calmed and neutralized for the moment. But around the country, a lot of South Africans are very skeptical of what's going on. And this isn't being helped by those who are trying to undermine the election and the government with these attacks on members of the Democratic Alliance. And these attacks will continue and they'll pick up the pace. Trust me, they will. The obsession with people in this country, the disunity, is disheartening, to say the very least. Hopefully South Africans can learn to come together and ignore the nonsense of the past and move forward. But it will be challenging. As I said, 80% of the people whom I speak to personally are not convinced that this government will succeed, not convinced that government cares at all about them, or convinced that things will improve in this country. And that's a sad state of affairs and very, very troubling. Thankfully, as I said, things are peaceful. But South Africa has to correct its foreign policy. It has to correct its wrong-minded domestic policy. The ANC's macroeconomic policies are an abject failure, a total wrong-headed approach to growing an economy. Government doesn't create jobs. It steals from the private sector, which actually creates jobs. Race-based legislation undermines economic growth and frightens away foreign direct investment. South Africa cannot go it alone in the modern world. No country can. Try, but good luck with that. Meanwhile, South Africans are suffering. Black, white, brown, in all provinces. While many people, some people, live comfortable lives, most South Africans are on the edge. Inflation has really degraded the quality of life here in South Africa, as it has around the world, and people are struggling. It's time for these people who purport to be political leaders in South Africa to grow up, start adulting, work together, eliminate these wrong-headed macroeconomic policies like broad-based black economic empowerment, the National Health Insurance Initiative, and the Basic Educational Law Amendment Act, BELA, all of which will eviscerate this country and push it further towards the abyss. It's time for market-based reforms. It's time for achievement. 30, 30, 30, and 40% in 4 subjects, and you're handed a piece of paper that says you've graduated and you're expected to make your way in life. That's a joke. It's an insult to all South Africans. It's an effort to dumb down the electorate so they're not able to think critically and ask the questions that need to be asked of their government, to make the demands of their government that should be made, to play a person's role in a functioning society. A 30%, 30%, 30% in 3 subjects and 40% in your mother tongue expectation is the road to serfdom, to quote Francis Hayek. That's what it is. And nobody deserves to live in serfdom, certainly not in the 21st century. So, I encourage South Africa's political leaders, South Africans, to stay engaged in your society, politicians, to do your job. Remember, you are servants of the people, not the inverse. South Africans do not exist for your political life, your blue light escorts, your self-aggrandizement, your self-enrichment, or your craven political power or desire. You exist to serve them as a servant leader, whether you're in the African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance, the Inkatha Freedom Party, the Patriotic Alliance, or Tiny Pat's Good Party, or whoever joins this coalition, including now the Freedom Front Plus. Your job is to serve the people of South Africa. You should take your job seriously and do your job well. Folks, be sure to leave a comment behind if you like. And if you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber of the channel. We do appreciate your time, and we appreciate your patronage of the channel. My time on this trip to South Africa is winding down, and it has been an amazing journey thus far. And what a way to finish this trip up here in the Western Cape. But I'm not finished. It's back to Gauteng tomorrow, because the Bulls are playing the United Rugby Championship final at Loftus Versfeld. 3 years, these South African sides are in the URC, and 3 years in a row, the final we played on South African soil. Who's laughing now? Cheers. Be safe out there, folks. Don't take any wood nickels. God bless.